Welcome witches to today's video, which is another run roulette. We're finally cleaned up. It is technically the next day because I just couldn't get myself put together enough, and now I feel like a little overdone for this video, but you know what? You don't need to hear my problems. What we need to talk about is the workout. So welcome to today's run roulette, where our run decides our read. We are going to put the information into the screen and we're going to figure out what our pick is. So let's get the information in. Yesterday was a long run. We ran 9 miles. It is currently the first quarter. Let's go ahead and summon our fate. The Woman in the Library. Oh my gosh, I think I read that one on my own for another TBR and I didn't get off this, and I absolutely loved it. If I hadn't read it so recently, I would honestly be tempted to reread it. However, I just read that in December. 5 stars. Absolutely adore. Highly recommend. Let's choose another one. Oh my gosh. It gave me Lights Out. I'm pretty sure that's the book Gavin's reading right now. So, well, he's doing sprints today, so maybe I'll do Lights Out while he's doing Lights Out. Do Wannabe Buddy read? Okay, so Lights Out, Into the Darkness, number 1 by Navessa Allen.
Okay, let's go.
Count one down. Pitching, switch it off. You're getting too high already. Two miles down. 7 more to go. 3 down. 6 more to go. 4 miles down. 5 more to go. We're at the halfway mark. 4.5. So I think it's time to take a gel in the water. I'm working really hard to keep I'm working hard. As you can tell, my watch is telling me I'm going too fast. I'm trying to keep it slow and heart rate. My heart rate's been in zone 2, but it is creeping up, which as you're gonna see as we run longer. There you go, now we're in range. So we just gotta stay in range. Just take some gels, some waters, and 4.5 more to go, halfway. Nice thing about this bottle is as you drink it, it collapses so you don't have all the sloshing to carry around. See? Anyways, okay, watch is hollering at us now that we're too slow. Just can't make a watch happy. Okay, let's get running again. To go. 6 miles down, 3 more to go. The headphones decided we have 2.25 miles left, unfortunately. Woo! Body break. And we're done. Okay, let's go. 7 down, 2 more to go. 8 down, 1 to go. 9 down, 0 to go. We're done. And we finished 11:15 pace. The last 2 miles we did like 10:30, 10:45 pace. So I wanted to finish it up. So it brought us down. Our goal was to not go lower than 11:20, but easier said than done. 11:15, 5 seconds too fast per mile. But count it. Okay, now we're gonna walk it home.
We are reading Lights Out. I heard a lot of things about how you need to listen to the audio. So until I can get a physical copy, I went ahead and started the audio. I think I need to start off with, I need to go back and check my tags in my run roulette, because I was pretty sure that long run is supposed to give me like a long epic fantasy or something like that. That's not what this is. I'm not hating it. Let's start with so far where we're at. We're only in the first like 4 chapters. I don't know exactly because I'm on the audio. While don't get me wrong, it goes straight out the gate, very hot, very dirty, lots of smut. It seems weird. So there's Allie, who's a trauma nurse, but she's kind of got this kink for men who wear masks and do dirty things. Somehow she's gotten mixed up with this particular one online, and he has broken into her house. She's figured it out. And so it's a little bit weird, to be honest, because he's doing things like putting cameras in her house. And that seems a little weird, a little too far, a little obsessive, seems a little strange. He has a moral line like, okay, I have a camera, I'll watch you, but like the second you're doing something private, I'll close my eyes. And I'm like, well, still weird. But take out the consent portion of, well, don't take out the consent portion. It's like what they're doing is like they're just how do I say this? This might really good. However, it's just weird because it's like, well, there's not really like consent, but like she's also like in the book being like, I kind of like it. And so it's just kind of weird. And I'm like, maybe we could get past the like that portion to where we're like all consenting. So like that's a little weird. And I do agree that the audiobook, since it's narrated by a male and a female, and the way that they will like when they're talking, insert those people in is really well done. It's entertaining. I don't really feel like there's a whole lot of plot to it other than just a lot of dirty scenes. And how can we talk dirty? And I think that that's fine. We'll see where this goes. If we're just going off of vibes and like smuttiness enjoyment, like we're getting there. If we're going off of like plot, character development, stuff like that, like it's a little weird. The faceless man definitely has a dark past with his father having some treating women very badly, some raping of them and murdering of them in the past. And he has that hanging over his head, which adds another element to like the weirdness of some of the things that he's doing, where he's like in his head, like, am I taking it too far? Am I going to turn into him? And I'm like, well, this is probably not a good start. We probably shouldn't let ourselves do these things. So that's a little bit different. It's one of those books, like, it feels weird to be like, oh, yeah, I'm enjoying it. Because I'm like, if that was happening in real life, I would not be enjoying it. So that it feels, I'm just gonna be honest, it feels a little weird, but like smut wise, I'm like, pretty good. Let's go ahead. We're gonna go change, do another run. Marnie is down here, absolutely ready to get going, and we'll go from there. I already feel really rambly and feel like I'm really going to struggle to do this review, but we'll get it. Let's go.
I feel as though it is fitting to go check out the little free library while we were here. Ooh, we're gonna have to come back. They got some good selections. Whew. I got that one. That's pretty good. Oh, I want that one. Got Harry Potter's. Okay, we need to run. We'll have to come back.
We're going to talk about Lights Out for just a minute. I have been doing this all audio, so this might be a little bit of a strange vlog. Bear with me. However, I have some conflicting feelings about this because if I'm going into this about really good character building and plot building, story pacing, stuff like that, I would say not very great. On the caveat, if I'm going in there for some really dirty, really intense, kind of smutty scenes with things that you're definitely not going to see in your general romance, yeah, great. However, the story is trying to be more than that, is trying to build a character. So hopefully it's not spoiler. If it gets too spoiler, I'll put spoilers in. But let's do a deep dive into this book. So this is following Josh and Allie. Josh's past has been very dark. His father was executed because his father would rape and murder women. He was found and convicted, and he's really struggled all his life with, is that going to be me? Could that be me? But at the same time, I don't show a lot of the characteristics or the tendencies. Is that because I knew who my father was or found out and I held him back? So he has a lot of his kind of conflictions with his past, who he could be, some of the things that he likes to do. For instance, covering himself in blood and a mask and doing very suggestive things to social media, and that being like hidden back life. And if he kept feeding into that, would it go too far? Now that he's stalking Allie and literally breaking into her house and setting up cameras, is he just slowly inching his way into all of that? Then you have Allie, who has her own trauma. She lost her mother very young in a very tragic way, which they talk about kind of midway through the book. For reference, I am about 75% of the way through the book at this point. She also works as a trauma nurse. She sees a lot of very dark things. While she didn't realize she had this like masking, she found this gnome faced man and kind of got into the masking and latched on to this particular person who she doesn't know because there's no identity. She doesn't know who it is. The connection between them, it turns out that the man she was hooking up with is his roommate. So she's very suspect of who it is. She has an idea of an inkling of who it is. Cool. And he's still trying to keep it covered. As far as for like the story, like yeah, it's pacing, but we're about 75% of the way through, and I would say like the real like actual more of the story is happening. So far we've really only had very intense actual explanations or scenes in this book, which some are subjectively very intense, very dark, very like, yeah, it could be into it. I will say as a trigger warning for people who like that. Sorry, I'm on the floor. And it's not very comfortable. Trigger warning for people who like that. This is very feeding into people who probably have a somewhat of a grape fantasy, which can make this kind of a difficult book because there is kind of the conversation. They bring it up a lot in the beginning of the ethical conversation of like, I'm doing this and I'm technically crossing a line, but I'm stopping before I watch her do something inappropriate to herself before I've technically had consent. But like, I already broke into her house, did some inappropriate things on her bed, filmed them, uploaded them, and still have cameras where I can watch her and hear her and do all of those things. But yet at the same time, she's like consenting to it and she's having her own conflicts. Like, I shouldn't be okay with this, but I am. I think that one of the ways the author's kind of getting around that is there is a actual predator who is raping girls, and he ends up in the hospital because he got beat by his last victim's family, and she wants revenge. Decides she's going to help him in the hospital because nobody else will, with kind of the intention of like, I'm going to not be nice to this person. I just want to get him done and get him out of here so that hopefully somebody else can be in this man's life. Oh, sorry, girl. Marnie's over here. I accidentally hit her in the head. I'm so sorry. Then she comes running with him, pisses him off. And you see the manipulation of this man, and that maybe this man is like who Josh worries he would become or is come, or like is like the young version of who his dad was. Seeing all these very dirty things, ways in which I wouldn't have thought. Let's just say there's some stuff with a knife. Oh, pause break. There is some stuff with a knife in crevices that I would never have thought to put a knife handle in. Anyways, so now the man that is a actual predator that she ran into in the hospital, he's coming to do harm to her, and she ain't having it. Great, stand up for yourself, girl. Get it. But then some stuff happens that maybe didn't go, and this is where, don't get me wrong, there were plot holes. There were some questions on how this worked. As far as like at this point, she has yet to see this man's face. He speaks with a voice changer, so it's not like she has her suspicion. She's like accepted, like, I know who it is. He doesn't know. He knows it's gonna happen. This is where we kind of lose the plot. Not that we ever had one, but like where the plot holes really start to show. There's things happen, and like, I get it. It's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be humorous. And I love that. Dark and humor. As you can tell, I love the humor in Bloom. If you've seen my March reading album, if you saw like my review of The Change by Kirsten Miller, which I kept saying Kristen Miller. Her name is Kirsten Miller. I apologize. Kirsten Miller. I do know your name. I don't know your name. I know the correct name. Back to the regular scheduled programming. Yeah, so we're seeing some plot holes. Now he like reveals his face and nothing happens. And then somebody dies. It's like this is really anticlimactic. And now all of a sudden the mob's involved. I'm like, okay. There's no hint of this. There was none of that. And I get like it kind of comes up. But there's also a moment where she's like so worried about like, he tells her like kind of about how he's always worried about like being a killer. And like there's been references to like he definitely has something dark in his past. It's kind of one of the reasons he's a recluse. why he became such a great hacker, etc., etc. And like this is like a really good moment that like you guys, as you just said, because they talk about it, a couple that slays together stays together, and you guys just slayed together, and there's definitely some hints of like this is big for him and like messing with him mentally, and like they do talk about how like this is all very strange. But she's just like, ah, cool. If he wants to tell me, and I'm like, he literally for the first time just took his mask off, which that moment I was like, did I miss something? So please tell me if for somehow I miss an entire moment where like it comes off and it's more than like, well, she knows who I am now and she hasn't lost her sexual attraction to me. So it's not just a masking, like she likes me for me. I'm sorry. Like I'm having my own conflicting thoughts because I'm like plot wise, not getting it for me. Some of the extra moments, I'm like, I get it. This is hot. This is kind of cool. It goes a little bit farther than maybe I would. This feels very personal. It's a little bit strange, especially because it's like they're consenting, but it's like a very unconsenting thing. So I can see how this is kind of a complicated book for some people. And I understand how like people either really love or hate this book. I'm kind of like indifferent to it, maybe because they don't have any strong feelings about it in any way. Don't come for me for that. And I will say that reading the audiobook, I think that does make a difference because it's narrated by both a male and female, and they do a really good job of like when he's doing voice modulation, like sounding like he's voice modulated, stuff like that. And I also like that even when it's a viewpoint from Allie's point of view, for instance, if Josh is saying something, they take the male narrator and use his voice to say it. Versus in some books, like the girl would just change her tone to be more masculine and the male, like vice versa. So that really does help with that. But I just feel like at this point we are too like we're trying to be more plot heavy now, but like the reality is there's been very little plot. There's been a little bit of character building, which I feel like they're trying to build, but every chapter and every interaction has been very sexual heavy, sexual encounter heavy in one way or the other, not necessarily in a traditional sexual heavy way. And it's very interesting. At this point, would I say I'm regretting reading it? No. Would I say I'm like super excited to read it? No. This does feel like a book that is really easy to like turn on, do chores, play a mindless game, do some dots, etc. Not feel like I'm missing a lot. Um, because I don't feel like there's a lot of plot that I have to do, a lot of timeline that I have to keep track of, a lot of characters, etc. to keep track of, which is fine. It is a series, and I am guessing who would probably be the follow along series. I do have a question for those people who track their series. If you read a book that, like, I just want to read that book, I don't like, you're already going into it, like, I'm not really know that I'm interested in like an entire series. I just want to read a book. Do you count that as DNFing a series? Because it is a series and you know you now that you've read the first one, you absolutely know you're not going to read more. I just have questions about that. Rant over. Hopefully, we will have to not rant quite as long as this on the end, but let's go find out. We finished Lights Out, and let me tell you, if you want a book about smut and some dirty, dirty things, you're gonna enjoy it. If you're looking for a book with a lot of plot, this is probably not it. It does have a little bit of a plot of them coming together due to an accidental murder. Because as they say, a couple that slays together stays together. There was some character building in their background and their backstory that helps you understand why they are where they are, maybe some of the choices that they make, etc. However, I don't think the book was written for a plot. It was kind of almost to justify what they were doing. Gavin Reads It All's review says it really well in that, like, they kept trying to justify why they were doing it or make it okay that they were doing something that's very kind of traditionally not seen as acceptable. And it's like, it did kind of, when they're having those conversations of consent of like, okay, I'm going this, but I'm not, like, almost validating why they were doing it. It does kind of like make you then get in your head. And as he says, just go for it. Like, if you want it, just let the characters feed into it. You don't have to justify, you know what I'm saying? And so, and I can see both sides of that argument, and that's not what we're here for. I would agree with that sentiment of like, just feed into it. Let it be a thing. It felt a little bit like you were trying to make me feel good about the choices somebody else was making in this fictional story. And it was like, just, I mean, obviously they're not okay with it, which makes me think, like, should I not be okay with it? Like, just that whole story. It ends kind of how you would expect. There is more. I don't think it's a series. I'm never reading another one, but I don't think that I'm going to be going out right away to read them. I think I have plenty of other series and other books that I want to get to first. So overall, it was fine. It was good. We read it. We're done. Let's move on. That is it for today's Run Roulette. Thank you for watching. If you've read Lights Out or you have any really good book recommendations, as always, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, witches.